watch the special features of the movie Monsters, Inc., you'll hear about the story of the Mans and the Mons. They were two races of humanoids who lived side by side along the coastal areas. So the Mans and the Mons, they didn't like each other. Specifically, the Mans were just really mean to the Mons and kicked them off of their island. So they swam away, found their own island, ate some weird fruit and some bushes, and animals grew horns and now spit fire and grew only one eyeball, I guess. So they realized that they look utterly terrifying, so they go back to scare all the Mans, and it kind of becomes a tradition that develops into a infrastructure. So the Pixar theory believes that the doors aren't just portals, they're time travel devices. Just demonstrated the Mans and the Mons that they lived side by side. Also, Pixar theory believes that the monsters evolved from humans. The Mans and the Mons live side by side.
I understand the point that, they mutate with radiation on the planet or whatever, but here's the thing, why come one is small and green and one is big and furry? How does that work? You can't have that different of evolution through just one solid radiation. It's almost impossible.
You only see one city throughout the entire thing. Would make sense if it were an island. Doors are just portals. You can actually see this in the movie because he mentions the Eastern Seaboard and specifically its time zone, Eastern Standard Time. But if you're time traveling, you don't need to worry about time zones. But if you're just teleporting, you would have to worry about time zones. So it would mean if you're time traveling, you would have to make just meticulous reports of when you went to this time, in this house, and all that. There would have to be so many records.
And plus, when you try and travel from door to door and go with different people, how come only one developed the magic? Someone would at least tell someone and at least catch them in the act, knowing about this, grow up, and almost every single child would have faced a monster at some point. So that would kind of cause like an outrage that's not mentioned at all throughout this series.
There is the question of why the monsters are so scared of humans. It's more like a you can't handle the truth sort of thing. It's a fear to keep up the system, so no one questions it. They get their power, they get out. That's the whole point. In Monsters, Inc., they get banished to the Himalayas, which is a very snowy place at the time. But if it were centuries and centuries in the future, and there was all that global warming, how would there be that much snow? I realize it's high up in the Himalayas. But if it's millennia in the future, a lot can change. Now, of course, they could have been sent to the mountains in the past, given that the time machine was real before the global warming. But as I proved, the time travel theory doesn't add up fully. So that's Monsters, Inc. and Monsters University. Now we'll remember Boo, the witch from Brave. Boo was awesome. So she kept looking for her kitty and kept looking and kept looking for the monsters. Eventually she got involved into witchcraft, and she goes around time traveling looking in the past for her monster friend.
She saw Boo and she really wanted to find him. So she became so fascinated with trying to find him that she developed witchcraft and magic.
Here's the problem. So they think that the bear she's carving and all the drawings of the bear are actually Sully. But he doesn't look like a bear, first of all. And, she always call him Kitty. But I don't know if you guys know this, but cats and bears aren't the same thing. Okay? Pretty simple. He doesn't even really look like a cat, but, whatever. If you look at young Boo, I don't think anyone can necessarily imagine her growing up into that. She has thick hair when she's a child, but then she's very old and gets really thin, wispy hair. Hair does thin over time, but she's not balding. So that was the end of the critiques, end of the video.